Yo Baby Daddy podcast, episode 5. Today's episode is going to be titled Into the Trenches and Out to the Suburbs. And today we have our special guest, Eddie Guevara. Introduce yourself, man.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Eduardo Guevara. Call me Eddie from the Valley. Born in Mexico, grew up here, South
Mm.
Texas, in the 956 kit.
Eddie,
Uh,
what military branch did you serve in?
I served in the Marine Corps. I was there for 4 years from 2015 to 2019.
To
So not
15.
not too
Fairly
not too
recently.
long ago.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Where were
and
where did you do your basic training?
So the first one is basically boot camp. So from that started in San Diego and what's it called? MCRD San Diego, and then from there you get 10 days of leave, which is basically vacation. After you take
Mhm.
your vacation, sorry, I'm reading the comments. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not from the National Guard. Fuck you, Juan. Fuck you, Lalo. Damn, they beat me to it. Anyways, but yeah, so it's 10 days of leave. After that, you go back to training. If you're in infantry, you basically go back to infantry school, which is there in Camp Pendleton, California. California. If not, you go to it's called MCT, which is basically Marine Corps Combat Training School, which
Mhm.
is kind of the same thing except it's a little bit smaller and not as in debt as the other one. You're there for I believe it's like 30 some days, maybe 40 days. After that, you go to your school. I went to engineer school, so basically there they teach you either water purification, electrician, generator mechanic, what else, things like that. And then from there, once you're done, I was there for actually 5.5 months. So I got there in what was it, September, I think 10th, and I left there February 19th.
Mhm.
And then from there, I went to my basically my duty station, which is actually in Hawaii. So I was there from March of 2016 till March of 2019. So waited 3 years. Like,
Were you stationed in Oahu? Or
yeah, I was stationed in Oahu.
Oh wow, that's interesting because I think uh Pete's friend was there too, right, Pete? Or the,
two of my buddies. One they were both stationed in Oahu. They were just different branches of the military. One was in the Marines, and the other was in the Army. So
oh,
one
Okay.
was in infantry, and then the other was, I believe, a combat medic. So
Oh
yeah.
shit.
oh, all right. So Eddie, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, since like when you go to the military, sometimes they either teach you certain things that you always thought you would either never learn, or certain things you're like, man, everybody should know this skill. One of the questions I want to ask you: what is one of the things that you want to like teach your kids or kid, in the future?
Well, I guess something that like I told my wife now like I'm like I would really want like for my son now that I have a son now he's 4 months is I guess to be disciplined, not be like I see a lot of kids that are like just on their phones or like the mom tells you to do something and they're like whatever or things like that. And like me, like I didn't really grow up like that. Like I'm not saying I was shunned, but I was kind of like I guess the middle child is kind of like in my own little zone, I guess. But like I guess with my son, I would be like to be more disciplined, to be more respectful, and that's something that I see over there. Like well, in the Marines, I don't know about the other branches, but like they, I guess they put you through a lot just so you can be like real disciplined. I guess like a machine, how they say it. They make you a machine. But yeah, basically just discipline and have character and be sorry, I'm reading the comments and be like sincere and be well mannered. Because over there, like when you're in boot camp, they just tell you like the only responses you can say is yes, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and that's it. Like
Mm.
no, like you can't say like oh can I do something is this recruit request permission to speak to drill instructor blah 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 and then they'll say speak, and then you say whatever. Basically, you're talking third person,
Mm. Did you actually
and
have
then
female instructors or anything like that?
no, in boot camp, well, where I went is just brutal males.
Oh, okay.
After that, in MCT también it was all males. When I was in the schoolhouse, in the third place that I went to, I used to have females, and I had the class. I guess like the supervisor, whatever.
Yeah.
She was a female, and then and there's a couple of them there that were females también.
Mm.
Not above me, like to like my leaders, but like they were there too.
Mm. So basically, what you're saying is about like teaching your son is like kind of like having respect for certain people and also like discipline in general, or what?
Yeah, basically like respect people, because like I mean, even nowadays you see it, and like to me, like whenever you talk to somebody, you don't just say like, "Oh, gun the dude," like whatever. You say, "Hey, how's it going, man? How's it going, sir?" If they're, older than you, things like that, you show the respect. Yeah,
Yeah.
once they show like, hey, no, it's okay. Like you talk to me like normal, whatever. And that's kind of when you, I guess, break that barrier. But otherwise, like just have discipline, I guess. I mean,
Mm.
for 3 months straight, just like instilled into you. And like they say, the first month they break you down. The second month they like start molding you, and the third month is basically when they turn you into a marine. And
Yeah.
they basically they'll make you like talk a certain way, walk a certain way, think a certain way, and just have a different. Yes,
Yeah. That's interesting because I know Pete. He likes to tell his kids like have manners and stuff like that. So and that's because you didn't go to the military at all. You almost planned to, right? You almost went.
Yeah, yeah. I literally made it to the recruitment center, and then my my baby mama basically told me like, no, don't do it. Which I had every intention of doing it, but she basically didn't want me to do it because of for one, she had this fear that something was going to happen to me, and then also um just this she didn't want me to miss out on my kid's life,
Mm.
which at the time was just my oldest. But but yeah, it was I wish I had joined. I really do. Um, it would have been it would have been a real good experience, especially
and
knowing a lot of
honestly,
Marines and stuff.
it is like it's to me it was one of the best experiences I've ever like I guess got to experience, because
Yeah.
like the things that you do, things that you learn, like you can use in everyday life. Like even
Hmm.
nowadays, like my wife calls me paranoid, but it's like because I carry like a tourniquet or whatever, and I'm always
Hmm.
like, I mean, you never know, like some crash or even you or whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, it's right there, and like it's
That's
just
true.
in case.
Yeah. Those survival skills would come in handy during the winter, you know?
Yeah. And my wife was like, "Oh, what's gonna happen? Whatever." I'm like, "I go to the backyard and get a piece of wood and just start burning wood." I mean, I don't have grass in the bag; it's just dirt.
Go Bear Grylls on them, just like start rolling a stick.
I'll
Oh,
start peeing in, the water bottle and just leave it out. Put some heat
yeah,
underneath it.
yeah. Do you,
Damn.
Eddie? Now that you gone to the military and basically how they treat you is kind of like you treat them with all the respect and yes sir, yes ma'am. You know how you said. Do you kind of feel like you're probably gonna bring that to your kids? You know what I mean? Like to be
Uh,
strict and for them to be like yes sir, yes ma'am, like to your wife and shit.
I mean, not to that extent, but like I guess in a way. Like I'm not gonna be like, okay, let's wake up at 3:30, let's go run. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now let's have breakfast. Now let's talk about history or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it'll be more like, hey, if your mom tells you to do something, do it. Like don't not question her, but like don't think about it too much, because maybe it's for a reason. Like for us, like they would yell at us constantly, whatever, right? But that's because when you're like in a war zone, whatever, and you're getting yelled at, you're not panicking. Like, oh my god, they're yelling. Like, what are they saying? So basically, when something's happening in the background, you just like you hear the voice and that's it. But que no paniques. Or like a big thing there was attention to detail. So basically, like in the mornings, you wake up, they yell lights, 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 whatever. You wake up, you can basically stand online and they do a head count. Everybody counts from 1 to 50 or whatever. I don't know how many it was. You count, and then they say take away all your sheets from your bed, take everything out. It's two sheets, one blanket, and a pillowcase. You get it out, and then you basically redo your bed all over again. And they say one sheet, okay, and then the second sheet, and then the blanket, and so on and so on. It's basically attention to detail because like you never know when any minuscule thing is gonna happen that you need to pay attention to that thing that could basically be life or death scenario type of thing.
No.
It's
Okay.
coming saying like everything has a purpose. Like you don't know it, just do it because you never know. Like let's say you're walking down somewhere and there's an IED and then like you're like something seems out of place and you like out of nowhere you just think about it without even thinking about it and it saves your life just because
Kind of like
it was
muscle
just
memory in a way.
yeah basically muscle memory.
Mm. All right, that's interesting. Um,
Yeah.
go ahead, Pete.
Oh, yeah. So, well, I had a kind of not a out of the box question, but kind of a question that I wanted to ask you. Like, how do you feel about the whole women in the military? The whole controversies that are going on with women reporting, being sexually harassed or basically, being taken advantage of in the military. What's your view on that, man?
So basically like on that like firsthand I have seen that and like I've known Marines, female
Hmm.
Marines who've gone through that, and it's shitty because like the ones who do it 95% of the time are the higher ups.
Hmm.
Like you'll never see like a lower, Marine or whatever soldier member do any of that. It's usually the higher ups. Why? Because they know they can get away with it. Because they have that power. They have that, like I guess that backup from other peers or whatever. So
Hmm.
they do it, and if they do it, they'll be like, "Hey, don't say anything, otherwise you won't get promoted, or you won't go on this training exercise, or you won't go to this schoolhouse, or things like that." And
Basically,
it kind of
they're kind of like saying, "Hey, whatever time you have left, if you say something, we're gonna make your life living hell."
pretty much, but it's backwards too, because like the female will like instigate it, and now she has that upper in her pocket, basically like,
Hmm.
hey, you have to stand duty this day. Basically, like duty is like you have to stand security in the barracks at your housing for 24 hours, and you can't go anywhere, you can't do nothing. You're just stuck there in uniform, even when your buddies are off or whatever, even on weekends or whatever. They'll be like,
Hmm.
hey, I don't want to be on duty, whatever. And the higher will be like, well, no. I'm like, well, remember when you're sending me those messages or whatever, and like it'll be her instigating, but now if guys are fucking retarded, like they'll
Blackmail.
flirt back by accident, and then now they're fucked. Especially
Yeah.
the higher the rank was, the higher the deeper it goes.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I guess I would say it's both sides, like because I've known both sides. Like I've known
Yeah.
the higher ups who like who not done it, but like who've been the victim and the accuser.
Oh, okay.
Mm. So it's a basically a double. Basically, it can go either way.
Yeah,
Either male or
it's
female,
and
it doesn't
it's
matter.
and the one that I do know that happened to her, I know she would always like instigate with everybody,
Hmm.
and then it did happen to her, and it kind of I mean it's shitty because it happened to somebody that and like a female that got taken advantage of, but like in a sense also like she would do it to other people, so now it's kind of like what do you believe? Like, do you believe
Hmm.
her? Do you believe the other person? Or
Dang.
that's kind of where you're stuck there.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
the boy who cried wolf. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, another question to link with that. If you ever had a daughter, how would you feel about her wanting to go into the military? Like, would it even be an option for you, knowing those stories, knowing those things that happened?
I mean, I would let any of my children go into military just because
Hmm.
the only reason I guess because I know what's in the inside, so I know what to
Hmm.
expect. I would be like, if it's a boy, I'd be like, hey, just so know what career you're gonna pick. If you pick infantry, when you get out, the only thing you can really do is be a cop, security guard, things like
Hmm.
that. Unless you go special forces, then you can be, federal agent and things like that.
Yeah.
But let's say, in the Marine Corps, there's welding. You could be a welding, you do 4 years and get your, how do you call it, like your journeyman's license and you'd be
Mhm.
20, what, 22, 23 by the time you get out, making way more money than people who've been doing it for 20 years just because you went to the military and you got your
Mhm.
degree from there and, so and so.
Yeah.
Or you could be an electrician. You could be really like, any job, aviation technician. You could be administration, milk
Mm-hmm.
clerk, bus driver, or whatever. But I guess that's something that I would want them to think about. Like,
Yeah.
there's not just one job in the Marine Corps,
Mhm.
but there's
Mm-hmm.
also like, every Marine's a rifleman. So before anything, they teach you to be a rifleman because you never know. You could be, the mail guy. You could be administration, and one day they're like, "Hey, we need somebody to go on this convoy." And if you don't know how to use your rifle or defend yourself, then I mean,
Mhm.
you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I
So
heard.
everybody gets the same training to a certain extent to basically survive and do what you have to do
Mhm.
to defend yourself and your brothers and sisters, and pretty much it. And as for females, the same thing. I wouldn't want her to like, I guess, go something like too how do you call it, like too in debt where I know how the guys are who like real machistas and things like that, like because
Mhm.
that would break my heart that like she wants to do something but she can't because there's a norm or whatever
Mm-hmm.
and she can't break through it because I mean, yes, I understand, anybody can do it, but like not just one person's gonna do it, because it says anybody can do it. It's never just one person. It's always every individual people at certain times at very different times that kind of just chip away a little, and then one person just gets lucky.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't know there were
Um,
so many jobs in the military.
There's a lot. There's cybersecurity. There's everything, like anything you can think of.
yeah, a buddy of mine used to joke around that the lunch ladies were a higher rank than most of the people in the
Yeah.
lunchroom.
Oh, and that's another thing I forgot to mention. So when the Marine Corps, I don't know if it's for the other branches. So let's say infantry. To get promoted in infantry, it takes a long time just because there's so many of them. So there's so many people, they only need so many uh, like supervisors, like other ranks. So
Mhm.
they promote way slower. So by the time their 4 years is up, the guy will barely be a sergeant or a corporal if he's lucky. We're doing a bunch of like career courses and things like that if he has the time, since they're always training. But like me and my MOS, uh, there were so many like everywhere. So like it was at times it would be easy to promote and hard to promote just because people would get out or stay in or whatever.
Mhm.
So like for me to pick up corporal and like just doing like I guess the bare minimum things, it took me I want to say like 2.5 years, 3 years, something like that. And other people who did it, a lot sooner, but that's because I mean they were running like perfect scores on their PFTs, CFTs, like physical
Yeah.
fitness tests and combat fitness tests.
Where were you in
Or
the military?
I got it as a corporal,
Oh, okay.
picture diamond does. Yeah,
Okay.
so basically it's like a assistant manager,
Okay.
assistant to the regional manager, assistant manager,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
and basically like, and there's other jobs like admin. Admin by 4 years they'll be a sergeant easy, like no
Mhm.
sweat, like nothing. So every job promotes faster than others, like, and it's just how you pick it. So I guess that's one thing I would tell my kids. Like, I mean, if you're smart about it, like you'd pick a job that will benefit you when you get out, if you do get out,
Mhm.
and something that's going to promote you fast. Because the faster you promote, the more money you get, the more benefits you get, the more
Mm-hmm.
hookups you get, the more freedoms you get too.
Yeah, that's well. Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue to the next question that I wanted to ask, which is benefits. You know how there's I don't have, as far as I know, I don't have anybody in my family that's in the military or that ever was in the military. So I wanted to ask you about the benefits. How does it work exactly? Like, how far does it extend? Like, can you only have like a certain amount of kids, and then beyond like 4 kids or 3 kids, they say no, we can't cover them no more, or how does it work? Do you know?
From what I know, I don't think there is a limit. I think like they're your dependents, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like me, like when I was in the military, I got hurt. I got hurt. I dislocated. No, I tore my ACL and meniscus in my right knee, and then my left knee started going back because my right knee was too weak to basically keep up with the other one. No, Juan, you can't borrow my military discount. Actually, yes, you always do. You always borrow it. And then um, I did that. I herniated like two or three of my discs on my back. I know two are for sure herniated. The third one, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a pinched nerve or something. They give me migraines, tinnitus, so I get ringing in my ears, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
and the way the VA calculates everything, it's weird. So basically, like, you could have, believe it or not, like my knee was the worst one, and they gave me 10% for that. But for my migraines, they gave me 30%. So basically,
The
everything above
hell?
the shoulders is a higher percentage. Your torso is a certain percentage. From your waist to your knee, a certain percentage. Knees to your feet, certain percentage, and then from your feet to your toes is a different percentage. So the higher up in the body, the higher the
So
percentage,
does
the
it
higher
add
the
up?
benefit.
So like so you said migraines is like 30, and then your knee was 10, but then
Yeah.
your
Okay.
herniated
So,
discs.
so like for example, let's say, and it's not even like herniated disc. It could be like every single disc in your spinal column, and they'll
Mhm,
equal to one. So basically, like let's say it's 10% for your back, 30 for your head, another 30 for your knees. So that's what 70,
mhm.
and then the VA will calculate it as like 40% disability.
The
They have
hell?
a weird calculator. Yeah, it makes no sense. So when
Okay.
I got hurt and I did everything, I'm like, oh fuck it, like 100% cake. Like I can retire. Like that's it, I'm done. And then I saw it, and they were like 60%, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Where's the rest of it? And then my buddy was like, yeah, man, they calculated weird and everything. And I was like, I mean, I
Mhm,
guess. He's like, do you have more things? I'm like, yeah. And then once you put it, I'm like, it's a fucking hassle. Like to do it, like if you go to the VA, they'll find a way to not help you. So basically, they'll try to like
mhm,
fuck you over. They'll be like for me, I went for my ears because I'm deaf in one ear, well both of them, but one more in one ear. And they're like, yeah, you're deaf, but not deaf enough for us. So they're like denied. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, I mean, I guess. I don't know. You have to be deaf for the deaf. That's the thing.
What
You
the
have to be
fuck?
you gotta be
Yeah.
deaf from both ears, apparently. Um, are you going through that whole 3M thing? The lawsuit they keep
No,
talking about, the whole earbuds or whatever it's called?
no, I see it all the time. I'm like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's,
Were
I,
you personally
it,
affected by it? Like, can you actually be part of it, or you were not?
I don't, this thing, I don't even know. Like, they just give us little plugs and like you use them. But I mean, we don't know what they were. They were just in little clear plastic bags.
No.
And they'll
Yeah,
be like, put them in.
they're basically like the construction earplugs, like you just put them in your ear and it just
Yeah,
goes
the little
from there. But like,
foamies. And
yeah, but
like,
like,
and like me, like, I never want to like risk it. So I was like, put it right. You get your ear, pull it back, pinch
mhm,
it, put it in your ear.
yeah.
But like, let's say you're shooting and like three shots in, it starts falling out. And when you're doing
Mhm.
I call it like the, not competition shooting, like your school or your qualification, you
Okay.
can't stop because it's time. So like, let's say you got to get 10 shots in 11 seconds. You're not going to stop, put your thing back on and start shooting because, every shot counts. And if you miss, it goes on your record, it goes to your promotions, and it goes whenever you wear uniforms. Instead of wearing like a rifle expert badge, you wear like, they call it the pizza box. So it's basically like a square. It looks like a pizza box. It's a square with little circles.
Yeah.
And that's like the ultimate, like, I guess, failure in the Marine Corps.
Dang, man. There's so many like
That's
tests and ups and downs and
Okay,
like
so when boot camp, when you're there, you have to test in drill, initial drill, which is basically like marching and cadence, in sequence. There's also a history test that you got to take in training day number 55. There's final drill, which you got to test on that. You got to do medical, so basically like first aid. Somebody breaks their leg, somebody gets a chemical burn, somebody gets shot, somebody gets concussed, things like that. You got to treat them all that. Uh, and then after that, then you got to test when you go to uh, MCT, which is Marine Combat Training. You got to test on your rifle again. You got to test on machine guns, grenades, grenade launchers. You got to test on that. After you're done, you got to go to the schoolhouse, test on your school. The job that you're trying to do, test on that. And every year you got to do a physical fitness test and a combat fitness test, like every single time,
Mhm.
Mm.
every year, and like it never stops.
So, quick question: did you want to get deployed to the Middle East, or
I did. I mean, that's why I joined. I was like, well, I want to go out and do something. And
yeah?
then when I got to my duty station, they were like, yeah, we go all the time. And I was like, all right, cool, like perfect. And then like I want to say like a week before I left to Hawaii, because I was on vacation before I left. A week before, they were like, yeah, our unit's not deployable now. Like we don't do that anymore. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, that fucking sucks. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
So
But
that's why you got stuck in Hawaii.
yeah, so I was like, yeah, whatever. I guess I'll just write it out here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have, joined another 4 years. But
Mm.
after that, it kind of just like demoralizes you. And then what sucked more too is that we had a good unit, we had good leaders, and
Mhm.
then those leaders went away, and then other leaders came in, and they kind of just started bringing the ship down. Those two
Mhm.
went, and then two others came in and just made it even worse. So it kind of just like, man, it sucks. And then people were like, the grass is greener on their side, but I'm like, yeah, but you never know what you're gonna get. It could be a good unit you go to, it could be not be a good unit. Like you just never
Mhm.
know. And you can't just say, "Let me sign these 4 years, let me go see," and then be like, "Yeah, never mind, it's shitty here too," and then now you're stuck for 4 years.
Mm.
So it's
See.
by contract. So.
What I keep hearing from your stories is basically a lot of teamwork. A lot of communication, a lot of teamwork. From it doesn't matter like how you said what profession you're choosing. There's always communication and teamwork. Do you feel like because of going to the military, you feel like your communication and your teamwork, you can bring that set of skills into your parenting life now? Like, do you feel like, oh, I feel like I can do a better job than a regular parent because I know about teamwork and communication more?
I mean, I don't know about all that. I don't want all the parents to get mad, but like I guess one thing that helps is like I can deal with pressure and stress a lot better
Mm-hmm.
than most people, just
Mm-hmm.
because over there it's just so stressful and like it could be something happening like, hey, let's say for example like this bill are due, we got no money, whatever. It's like, hey, it's okay, like relax, like whether you do it or not, it's still gonna happen. You can't nothing. There's nothing you can do to stop it
Yeah.
because you really can't. So now you just gotta like, if you stress and you freak out, you're gonna make a mistake, and that mistake's gonna make it a lot worse. Rather
Mm-hmm.
than if you de-escalate the situation, you're calm down, you think about it. Okay, okay, now you know, I got my bearings together. Now I can think about what I can do next, rather
Yeah.
than go all crazy.
Dang. Community. So basically, what you're telling me, Eddie, is when your son was born and crying and waking you up in the middle of the night, you're like, this
I
is
mean, don't get me wrong. I was just like, man, this fucking sucks. But I mean, like, I have to do it. I mean, I know better,
yeah.
you know.
So, what do you do now? Now that you're out of
So
the military?
after I got out, I went to go work with my in-laws as an electrician.
Mm-hmm.
Well, between electrician and instrumentation technician,
Mm-hmm.
mostly
Mhm.
electrician. I did that, and then now I'm just, sucking on the government's teeth, collecting all that money. I mean, it's my
Dang.
money. I put it there. I might as well take it
It's my
back.
money. I need it now.
Yeah, I mean, I called JG Wentworth, and he was pretty cool about it.
Oh,
did
nice,
you
nice.
uh did you from the job that you took from the military, the profession that you went to, was there any options out here? Like, as in, like, what could you have gone out here in the civilian life? I
So
guess.
basically, like for me, it's because I did a bunch of things. So I did,
Mm-hmm.
my original job that which the Marine Corps made me do, or I guess picked me to do, which is a water support technician. So I was basically working in a water plant, wastewater plant,
Mm-hmm.
treat it, purify it, things like that. And then I also went to another training, which is basically a safety. So basically, in a job site, I could be a safety or things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Or and also worked in an armory, so I could be security or armed security. And
Mm-hmm.
also since we also do rifleman training, I could be a cop or things like that. Basically, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, my school is paid for, so that's another good thing.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
guess I'm stuck between. for the water plants, things like that. There's jobs here, but they pay very little. I mean, I think like $12 an hour to do that. I'm like, I mean, I know so much. I don't want to do it for $12 an hour when I can just go somewhere else and get paid
Much,
twice as that
yeah, better. Oof.
doing electrician, which is what I did now for almost a year. Uh, what else for safety? For safety, it's kind of a little bit harder to get into because I do have the certifications. I have just about. I, I looked at curriculum for the safety for OSHA things like that for
Yeah,
college, and
yeah.
Mhm.
I've done everything, and I have the experience. I have the like on the job training. The only thing I don't have is a diploma. So
No.
basically, I have everything minus a diploma. So that's what kills me. So I can go anywhere and be like, "Hey, I have this and this and this." They're like, do you have your degree?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, well, you need the degree." I'm like, "Well, I have more than the next big thing, the next applicant who would
Mm.
apply."
Mhm.
But I mean, I just don't have a degree.
I,
For armed security, it's the only thing that there is here, but it's from what I've seen that's real bad experiences from jobs here that no lunches, things like that. I mean, I understand got things like that in the military, but I mean, I'm not trying to like live the military world here where I know it can be better.
yeah.
Mhm.
I know that you talked about a little bit how you said that your school, if you decide to go to college, it's paid off by the military. Um, does that extend to your kids or to your wife, or that's only you?
No, so basically that's only me.
Okay.
If I were to get 100% disability, like let's say me pone más cosas,
Mhm.
then that's when I would be able to transfer it to them.
Oh, okay.
And then
Mhm.
I just found out, I want to say a month ago, there's two types of disabilities. There's, I don't know what they are, but basically, one of them you can still work after you're disabled. One of them you can't. So after you're 100%, like that's it, you're done. Don't
Mm.
don't work. You're retired. You're done. And the other one, you can still work. Nobody can tell you anything, and it's permanent. Like that's it.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
I see.
basically, 100% disabled. I believe the income is I want to say around 3,500 a month.
Mhm.
So that's roughly like what, like
Damn.
50 a year, something like that. So imagine making that much money and then, well, here in the valley, and then go work at freaking Matt's Matt's Building Materials or McDonald's or whatever. And the good thing about it is that disability money is not taxable income. It's yours. That's it.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you go work somewhere like
Shit.
when you do your taxes, then how much money you make? I make 14 grand. And that's it. No, it's not a like, hey, where's where's the rest of the money coming from? That's government money. That's not taxable.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Dang,
Yeah.
Damn.
there's a lot of ups and like little details like that that I
Yeah.
guess
I mean,
me
there's
I
ups
didn't
and
know.
downs. Like, yeah. I mean, there's all that, but there's also like the horrors from it. Like,
Mhm.
having like one of them is like when we do a hike, they'll be like, okay, we have a hike at 7 in the morning, and then they'll be like, okay, wake up at 3:30. We want your information here because we want to do a head count, and then you're there, and then you gotta wait for 4:30. Hey, now the other people, the higher ups, want to do another head count, and so on, so on, and then the hike doesn't start till like 8 o'clock because
Mhm.
the officer and the higher enlisted they were still at their house eating breakfast, and they just woke up and then they just got there and they're like, okay, guys, let's go on a hike. And they look all happy, and they're all fucking miserable because you're since fucking 3 in the morning
Mhm.
and you're dying, and you're like, oh,
Dang. Hey Pete, I know that
So.
how we talked about a little bit earlier how that you're potentially gonna go to the military. Things change and stuff
Mhm.
like that. People
Mhm.
persuaded you and whatnot. What do you think you would have done the same thing as Eddie, as like change your go in there as in like I want to be like the infantry person, or you think you would have gone for something else like job wise?
No. I would have either gone in as a medic
Mhm.
or something with cybersecurity or something like that.
Mhm.
If not, I did hear good things about the welding program there. Probably one of those things. I heard a lot of different things from different people being in the military. I got a lot of friends who were in the military. Buddy of mine was in the Air Force. he went in for cybersecurity, came out, and he literally just he has a job right now doing maintenance on these networking. I can't remember honestly. He just sits on his ass all day, honestly. But he loves it. He loves it,
Mhm.
dude. I mean, he he's glad he went into the military, came out even better, and yeah, man. For me, I really wanted to go. Even now, like there's still a part of me that wants to go. Like I'm like, well, is 30 too late? Like so I'm like 29 right now. It's like, well, it's 30 too late? I'll be the
Oh,
old man in the group. But
I think
I don't know.
for the Navy, I think it's I don't know if it's the Navy or the Army. They can still
Mhm.
go up to like 32 or something, like 35.
Yeah, I've read somewhere it's like some of the branches, the cutoff age is like 32, 33,
yeah.
right around there.
For the Marine Corps, what is it, Eddie? Do you know?
I want to say it's 28, 29.
mm,
Oh, okay.
See, the Marine Corps,
32.
it's funny because I hear a lot about like, like people, I don't know what the fuck the word xenophobe is, but
Mhm.
basically people fat shame or whatever. The Marine Corps does do that. Like, if you want to be
Mhm.
in the Marine Corps, if you're a certain height, you got to be a certain weight. So like, let's
Yeah.
say if you're, for me, I was 5'8". I had to weigh under 175, I think.
Mm.
And if you look, let's say you're 180 muscle, they'll be like, "Hey man, you're fat. Let's go tape you because you're fat." And then they'll
Mm.
tape you, and then you pass, obviously.
Mhm.
But then you'd have people who were basically underweight, but they're fat. Like there's no muscle tone, there's nothing. They're just fat and they're weak.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's weird because
How
like
they say the unhealthy skinny.
yeah, and then there's a lot of them. Trust me, a lot of them. And there's some of them who are like I know one of my friends. He got I don't know if he got kicked out or forced out of the Marines because he wouldn't pass tape. But I was like, I mean, the guy could like he passes PFT, CFT. He could run better than most of the people there. He was just he was chunky, but that's because he couldn't lose weight as fast as he wanted to. Like he was in shape, he
Mhm.
could run. He just couldn't lose that the extra body fat. And there's other dudes who were skinny who couldn't pass their test at all. And that dude got to stay and finish his whole thing just because they don't want to put up with him. And like, so basically, it's just like, whatever, just pass him, whatever, just forget about him, just let him pass. And the other guy was actually really smart. He was an electrician and he couldn't do anything about it. And he tried fighting with the general about it, and they just kicked him out. And it was sad because it was like, the guy was a good person, the other guy was just a piece of shit. And those are the ones who stay, and the ones who do stay are the pieces of shit. The people you hate, they're the ones that stay, and the ones you
Damn.
like, they leave. They leave somewhere or they get out. Like one of my friends, he was the same job as me. He was the smartest person I knew, like in the job. Like you could tell him anything about electrician, anything about anything. He would answer like nothing. Smart, and
Mhm.
he ended up getting out after 4 years just because he was fed up with the leadership. And there's other dudes who are just pieces of shit, and like you hated them, and they're like, "Yeah, I just re-enlisted for another 4 years," or "Hey, I just got promoted," and you're like, "What the fuck? Like, why?"
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's yeah,
So,
dude.
but yeah, but, I mean, James was saying he's gonna join the military too. That's what he was talking about.
Me? What the heck? No.
So you're gonna go to Navy with Juan and share some speedos.
Yeah.
Dang. He's gonna
Um.
join the National Guard.
Do you feel like you're as you will have more kids and whatnot? Do you feel like your inner drill sergeant is gonna come out when you discipline your kids?
I mean, no, but like their punishments, they're petty. Like they'll be like, okay, you don't want to do a certain thing. They'll be like, get this piece of pen and hold it out with your arms out. And then, I mean, eventually your arm gets tired.
Yeah.
Even though it's a pen, doesn't weigh anything, but your arm gets tired.
Gravity.
And it
Yeah.
Mhm.
goes down, and they'll be like, wow, really? You can't hold up a pen? And then your arm's killing you. So it's just mind tricks. It's, they, I guess psychologically mess with you.
Yeah.
Or like things that they did a lot was basically like, yeah, basically like more major pain, basically like that. I just reading the
Mhm.
comments.
Mm-hmm.
but like it's like it's weird what they do and like what they get out of it, and like you don't even think about it till later on. You're like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Um. Yeah, dude. What's the craziest thing that you've seen being in the military?
Uh, like what do you mean?
Like craziest thing that you saw yourself? Not like a story, not like somebody else
Okay,
telling you what happened. Like craziest thing that you've seen. In your 4 years. I know you were stationed in Oahu, but still, you might have seen some crazy stuff. Somebody
craziest
pulled a
thing
pin
I've
on a grenade too
seen.
fast, something like that.
Actually, yes. Well, one of the things that I saw, we're doing the grenade drill. We're
Hmm.
throwing grenades. First, you do, I think it's two drills. You throw a grenade, like two mock grenades. Basically, you pull the pin. I think there's three or four safeties. You throw it, nothing happens.
Hmm.
And then the next one is it does like a little puff,
Hmm.
like a little fart, whatever. And then the other one is the live one. And you through it. And when you throw it, you're supposed to like overhand it, like
Yeah.
that, like Kareem. And this guy, he hit the wall.
Uh huh.
He hit the wall and landed in the pit where they were throwing at. So the drill instructor, or the instructor, sorry, he picked it up and threw it over the thing, and then get the guy down. Otherwise, there would have been pink mist everywhere.
Oh God.
Oh shit. So
Yeah,
how
and
how
and
how early
you, you
in the drills do you guys use live grenades? Like right off the bat or what?
no, so basically that training we do like machine guns and things like that. That's and the second thing, it's month long. I want to say your second or third week there, because I mean, in those 4 weeks, like it's nonstop. Like you don't stop at all. So
Hmm.
they're trying to cram everything into that 1 month. So like, let's say one day you miss do something, the next day you're gonna make up for it, no matter how long
Mm.
it takes.
Damn.
Lalo's talking about some alcohol. I have some pictures here.
The
So
craziest thing he saw with the
so
alcohol a human body can intake.
so
Oh.
this is how we would party like you know in one night.
Yeah, I've heard some crazy
And,
stories from my buddy Miguel. Like,
and there was
man, when he
more. I
came.
mean, I have this beer pong game that we played over there that I
Mhm.
can't show it here. Probably get taken down.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. No, 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 don't put it here.
yeah.
But
Let's say
it's very
it's
creative.
it's
Let's say it's very creative.
it's from World War II. Let's say about that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a World War II genre from both sides.
Mm.
I mean, the alcoholism, I guess, got bad. I mean, it got to this point.
Days
Days since the last alcohol-related incident. I think the highest we got to was like 7.
God damn it.
So an air ride there is like a DUI,
Mhm.
PI, things like that.
Dang.
Yeah, my
And
buddy
this is
Miguel when
what
he got back. Uh,
this is what they think of us. So it says a high risk for alcohol risk is 3 or more standard drinks in one day. So that's 3 beers, 3 shots, 3 wines, or 3 mixed drinks. Low risk is 2 standard drinks in one day, or more than one per hour. And no risk is 0, obviously. So if you have 3 beers, you're alcoholic. You're a
mm,
crazy person.
You're an alcoholic, Pete.
yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah.
Alcohol and
Mm,
kids,
They're-
it pairs well.
By their standards. By their standards. Yeah.
But yeah, man, like it's crazy how like
Mm.
it's because the Marines, they're different. They were born in a
Mhm.
bar. They were
Mhm.
born in Tun Tavern, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in 1776, November 10th. That's where they were formed in a bar. So
Mhm.
ever since then, that's like their go-to. And they're in the Marine Corps Ball, which it's every year. It's always on November 10th, more than half the times. If they're not too booked or whatever, like if they're not too busy, like they'll do an event where like there'll be like traditions, like it'll be the oldest Marine and the youngest Marine. They'll cut a cake, and I believe the oldest Marine gives it to the youngest one, like passing like his traditions to him or whatever. That's what
Mm.
symbolizes that. Or they do like they'll sing like the songs, things like that. Y también like they'll do that's when like every single person of every rank, they like, not that they don't show their rank, but they like, how would I say it?
Everybody gets
They don't
treated the
hide
same
behind.
or what?
Yeah, like they don't hide behind it, I guess.
Hmm.
And we all dress, all fancy, fancy and dandy. You
Look at
see there? Oh,
look at
I
no.
thought that
Yep. Yep. There you go. Look at that.
they dress all nice, and that's when everybody just gets drunk. Every single person. I don't know if you can see this. This is my officer
Hmm.
holding the drink.
What if you stain your uniform during the
I
ball?
mean, it's your uniform. You gotta clean yourself. You gotta pay for dry cleaning.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to spill drink on your $240 coat, your $100 trousers, $200 shoes,
okay.
$50 belt, yeah, it's expensive. That suit's expensive.
Dang. Um,
Damn.
I wanted to talk to you about your kid. You know how you were saying that you have a 4 month old, right?
Mhm.
How describe or pretty much walk us through the process of how it happened, as in like when he was born. Like where were you guys? Were you guys at home when her water
Uh,
broke, or like was it in
I thought you were
vitro?
talking about like how he was made. I'm like,
Uh,
so it happened between a boy and a girl,
no, no.
and they like each other.
So
When a man loves a woman.
you pick up your phone, you take us to the bed. This is the bed.
This is where the magic happens.
uh,
No, so actually, like, I guess I'll do when I found out. Me and my wife, we were talking, and
mhm.
her parents were. Well, she was arguing with her parents and things like that. When she comes to the room, and and she's all like feeling all like sick, and I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know, my stomach hurts, and she goes to her, she pukes, and I'm like, okay, you pregnant? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, you want to get checked? And she tested, and then it was kind of faint, and we're like, is that real or is that like faint? Like, is it a false negative? She
Yeah.
took another one. I think she ended up taking like 20 of them.
Oh God.
And then I was like, I guess it's real. And she could take it. I'm like, I mean, the night's not gonna get any darker. Like, you're pregnant, you're pregnant. That's
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then after that, fast forward, a couple months from after that, she gave birth at, I want to say it was 36 weeks. So she was
Uh-huh.
almost there. She had to get induced. And
Oh.
like I was at
Oh.
work. I remember I was in Corpus,
What happened,
and
or what? Like blood pressure or something?
I think it was her blood pressure
Uh huh.
because she. I don't know how. Okay, I'll touch on that after once I get there. So I was at work and it was right before lunch, and she texted me. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna give birth today." Blah blah blah. And I thought like her water broke. Like she's in the hospital. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, okay, just chill. Get your bearings. I'm like, okay. I told my boss, I'm like, hey, I'm going home. My wife's about to give birth. Later. I left. He's like, yeah, just do your paperwork later on. Get a week or whatever. I don't know if I got a week or two. No, I think he gave me two, but I only took one.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. I did the paperwork. I went home. I'm not gonna lie, I was going 90 plus the whole time home. I think I got from Portland, which is right across the bridge from Corpus. I got here to the valley like maybe an hour, 45 minutes, an hour 30.
Damn, dude.
Like,
That's
I
damn.
was hauling ass. I mean, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, and I got home and I see my wife and her mom on the couch just sitting down, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You're like,
And
I
I'm
thought you
like,
would be in the hospital by now.
what's going on? She's like, I'm gonna give birth. I'm like, did your water break? She was like, no, but I was waiting for you because I told her like, it's something that I want to experience. It's something that I want to be
Hmm.
part of. Like, it's my firstborn. Like, I don't want to, you know, think about it for the rest of my life. Like, what could have happened? What did I miss or blah blah blah.
Hmm.
My parents are kind of distant, so like with me, I kind of want to be closer to my kids, and show them what I guess I wasn't shown. So I was like, and then she kept saying like, no, my mom's gonna go with me, and I'm like, fuck no, like I'm going. And she was like no, like it's because you don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, I'm going. Like I'll be in there, like I'll parade you, whatever the fuck you want, but like I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. And then when I got there, I was like, okay, well, let me take a quick shower. I took a shower, and then took her to the hospital. And then when we were there, we're like, okay, we're gonna go in there, and they're like, that's when COVID was happening. He was born in October 8th, so we got there the 7th, I think, yeah, 7th, and we were there, and then they're like, oh, sir, you gotta wait outside because COVID, blah blah blah. You gotta get, your wife has to get tested, which what made no sense to me that she got tested, but I didn't get tested.
Okay.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, it was a renaissance, right? To me, it made no sense. So basically, she got
Yeah.
tested, and
Yeah.
then I was waiting in the truck. She was like, "It's gonna take 2 hours because that's how long it takes for their test results." I'm like, "Whatever." And then we were there, and then they're like, "Oh, the tube got stuck in the air tunnel, so she had to do it again, so another 2 hours." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So I was in the truck for like 4 hours, just waiting there on my phone, just fucking bored. Went through TikTok,
Mhm.
and even I got tired of TikTok, so I was just there like, "Damn."
Mhm.
So I was like, after that, she texted me. She's like, "Hey, come up now." I went, and I was like, "Do I have to get tested?" She's like, "No, just go right ahead." And I was like, "The fuck? That made no sense."
Mm.
Like,
So you were able to
like,
actually be there when your kid was born
yeah,
and everything. Oh, okay.
yeah. They
I
said if she would have gone in like by herself, and I wasn't checked in, like that's it. She would have been by herself.
Oh, okay. Real quick
So yeah,
to cut off to Pete. You were you there
What's
for your
up?
firstborn, Pete? Like when he was born, like
Yeah,
in the room
I
and
was there
everything.
for the yeah, I was there for my firstborn. I cut the umbilical cord and everything.
same here.
It's something that I wanted to be a part of.
The fuck? They didn't let me cut it, dude.
Oh, they
No,
asked me. They're like, hey, do you want to
dude,
cut the umbilical cord? I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
that
So
No,
I
texture
cut
they
it.
is
told me they're
fucking
like, oh,
weird.
we can't let you because of what was it?
Yeah, we even
Uh,
had like a mazel tov, like mazel tov. No, I'm kidding.
no,
You
ours
cut a
was
piece of
um,
umbilical
basically is
cord.
like they kind of explained to me like we don't want to get sued if something goes wrong. And I'm like,
The
hmm,
what?
fuck?
Yeah, they didn't let me,
How
dude.
how do you
with an
fuck
umbilical
up a
cord,
scissor?
really?
You should have been like, I passed the first grade.
Yeah,
Damn.
I don't
But yeah,
know.
like
Fucking, what am I gonna do? Like, go like this and what the fuck?
Nah,
It's
no,
so
like
stupid, dude.
it was
yeah,
funny.
dude, it was a great experience, honestly. I got to cut his umbilical cord. I was the third person to hold him because it was, of course, his mom held him first, and then his grandma held him, which was her mom, and then I got to hold him, and then they're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, do you want to walk him down to the nursery or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I walked with the nurses and everything, and they took the little crib, well, the little plastic crib or whatever they were supposed to take him in, and I just carried him all the way,
What the
and
fuck? Ours
yeah,
didn't
dude,
do
it was
that.
yeah, it was cool, dude. It was
See,
great. It
with
was
us, I don't know if I was the first or second one to hold them. I mean, first I was
yeah,
the baby catchers, the measure
yeah,
and whatever, but I was the
Mhm.
first one
yeah.
besides a nurse or doctor to hold them,
Well,
and then it was my wife.
yeah. Besides the nurse or anything, it was my baby mama, and
Mhm.
then it was her mom, and then me, and then yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I wish I could have done that with my other two kids, but my
Yeah.
daughter was born prematurely,
Mhm.
and also I didn't know she was mine, so she was born prematurely, so they had to do a C-section on her, and then yeah, dude. So that was a whole experience. Like she was in the NICU for like I want to say like a month and a half,
Oh damn.
and she was born like 2 months early, and it's because same thing, blood pressure.
Mhm.
Her blood pressure shot up, and they had to induce, and they had to go from there, or else she was basically gonna go.
That blood pressure,
My
dude.
baby mama, yeah, my baby mama, and ever since then she's had problems with blood pressure, which is crazy, dude. And then the our third one, of course, she had another C-section, and I wasn't there for that one, and I wish I could have been there for all of them. I mean, of course, the second one mostly because it was so it was so out of the blue.
Yeah.
Plus, she was in the NICU, so like I wish I could have been there, but at least I got that experience with my eldest. Like it's something that I'll carry with me. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's if anybody's thinking about being a parent, be there for it, dude. Like regardless of what anybody tells you, even if it's like the mom or somebody else wants to be there, it's like no, no, no. One of y'all's gonna have to go because I'm gonna be there. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
Hey.
one of
Uh,
our one of
Like,
our one of our people in our comments is like, you should have done it with a sword. It's like, yes, I should have done it with a sword.
Right. I wanted a katana, just like
Like
just cut the
when it
cord.
happened with me, like I remember watching it, and the
Mhm.
doctor was like, give her some porras, right? And I was like, you got it, babe. Like, keep pushing. No
Good
one's coming
job.
out.
Yeah.
And then like I could see like the head, and it was like tiny. It was like this big. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I mean, it's a little bit early, so I guess it's gonna be a
Mhm.
tiny baby. And it kept pushing, and it got a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And all of a sudden, it just
Mhm.
fucking the whole baby came out, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Where the fuck that come from?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Jesus
Yeah.
Christ!"
I
And
had
I
to
saw the
watch all of
baby,
it,
and I
dude.
was
It
like,
was it was
oh
crazy.
my god!" And then they gave me the
Yeah.
scissors, but I thought they were giving me like to hold them, and I was just
Yeah.
holding them.
You were
And
the
like,
assistant.
and they're like, "You want to cut him? You want to cut it?" And I was like, "Sure." And then
Yeah.
they put the little things for the pressure, whatever.
Yeah, the
And then
clamps.
they're like, "Cut it." And the one thing that still bothers me to this day, I didn't cut it right. I mean, I did, but the texture was weird. Like it was
What do you mean you didn't
I
cut
don't
it
know.
right? Like you didn't cut straight? You went slanted or
No,
what?
I cut it. I cut three times. So I cut once, and then the scissors went like that. So I had to like cut again, and then the final little piece because the scissors are like this big. They're fucking tiny. Or the blades.
Yeah.
So basically, like I guess the cut was like this, kind of like a little N.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I saw it after I cut it, and like it still bothers me to this day. Like I think about it every day. Like I want to cut the little excess piece off.
You wanted to
It,
bust
it,
out
it,
your
For
military
sure.
knife and just like grab it and
to be like,
uh,
Dude, yeah, I got mine on the first shot. It was great.
the
Um,
scissors work
I
for
got
you.
like yeah, this is work for me. Just done.
I
And
think mine were dull.
dude, I got like a front row seat to everything, dude. And I saw everything, dude, from the crowning to the birth to
Yeah,
freaking everything, dude.
same
Like
here.
the part that scared me the most was when the shoulders come out, because like
Oh
you
yeah,
can see the head and everything, but the shoulders, and it's all done in one motion. So it's like, okay, crowning, head, and heads out, and pull them, and then so yeah, that was like the scariest part. I was like, holy shit.
yeah,
So yeah, dude, it was like less than a second, and so
yeah,
yeah, dude, it's an experience, dude. Like if anybody's don't have any doubts, go in there,
Yeah,
experience it. It's part of being. It's honestly part of being a dad. Honestly,
yeah.
and
Because I remember when I heard we got the baby catching team, and I was like, what? I was like, is it gonna shoot out or something?
it's
Somebody's
got
gonna be in the back,
right
like.
here, right here, right here.
damn, they got some pressure to him. Just
And I was just like, what? And
Boom.
like I didn't know there's that many people for a delivery team because
yeah.
we were there,
Yeah.
and it was like the CNA and the nurse,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and then the doctor came in, and then I think it was like an intern doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the second in charge, and then all of a sudden there's like the baby warming team, the catching team, and like when I looked up, there's like 20 people in the room, and I'm like, oh shit, who the fuck are these people?
Right, that's my experience too. Cause it was like me and my girl. Right, we were the only ones,
Mine was
and
only like 5 people.
yeah, it was me and my girl, and then like her mom was there, and then like we were just there chilling, and there was like the nurse, right,
So
and then all
someone
of a
put
sudden,
like Ace Ventura.
oh yeah, oh, and all of a sudden, like when it was go
Oh
time, it was just
man.
like a wave, like just it was like if they were just on standby, like just so many people, and I was like, oh shit, like over there, people warming up a little bed, and then the doctor with her all her nurses and everything, and then like the second doctor, I guess, or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck is
Hmm.
going on? And they're like, just grab her hand, and I'm like, okay, and
Did
then
you do like a? Did you do all natural, or where's it done like a epidural, C-section?
the first one had to do epidural because she was doing like preeclampsia, which is like high blood pressure and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
Hmm.
the second
Yeah.
one,
same.
she did it natural, like all the way, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sucks.
Yeah. It's hard to have an all natural birth after a C-section, because like that's pretty much the go-to after once you have a C-section.
Mhm.
Um, I know with my baby mama, like she was so fully dilated that there was no time for an epidural.
Mhm.
So like by the time we got to the hospital, she was like 6 or 7 centimeters
Yeah.
already in. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. But like I was like messing with her the whole time. So she would like squeeze my hand during the birthing process, and I would squeeze back. And she's like, "You fucking asshole." It's like, oh, I'm just playing, baby. I'm just playing. Come on. So yeah. So,
Jeez.
Like,
I was fucking with her when her water broke too. She's like, babe, I think my water broke. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And I turned back over and went back to sleep. And she's like, really? I was like, no, 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 no. Let's go, let's go.
Jeez.
I
Oh.
just like fucking with her. It's
like to
hilarious.
me, like I guess the most traumatic experience about that was, there was a first there was the intern. I guess the intern, the doctor. He was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, is it okay if I join the the birthing process?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Then it was the second one, a female, and then like my wife's doctor, and the first guy, the young guy, he was kind of like, he was shy. He was like going, how they do it like that, like being real gentle.
Mhm.
And then the second one's like, no, get in there, and using two fingers, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta get him out. And the doctor's like, no, just fucking. He was going like that, and I was just like, oh god. And like I don't want to
Damn.
look. Like I would look, and I'd be like, oh fuck.
It's like fucking get in there.
It's like, just like I'm opening a bag of chips, dude. Just
And I was just like,
God
Jesus
damn.
Christ, dude. And I look away and look at my wife, and like, well, obviously you had the mask, and she was like, you didn't look like, like scared or anything. I'm like, oh, trust me, I was like, from what I saw, like, I was like in the inside, I was like, what the fuck? And I was just holding her hand, and I'm like, everything's good, like, keep pushing.
Mhm.
But in
Yeah.
reality, I was like, oh fuck, they're just gonna tear her open like a sack of potatoes.
Did did you guys know if during the birthing process, obviously, it's a natural thing, when they're pushing, that if they ate something, a little poo might come out. Did
Mm.
did
Yeah.
your wife or did your baby mama Pete poop on your kid? Do
No.
you guys know?
No, no, no. So
No.
like so what happened is somebody that she knew went through that. So she had her baby, right? And she had the epidural. So she couldn't feel anything. So she was just pushing, right? And apparently during the pushing process she, chorro, and then, baby came out, a little extra brown.
Uh huh.
And so yeah, she
Yeah,
went
he had a little mudslide coming in.
a little mudslide going in, and yeah, dude, it was funny. It was funny because like you don't expect hearing that, especially as a young father. I wasn't ready to hear that,
Mhm.
but then at the same time, you kind of understand because she had the epidural, so it was like, okay, she doesn't feel anything, so
Mhm.
she's just pushing. So that was really understandable.
Mhm.
The afterbirth is what surprised me because they have to get the bag out and everything, and then everything
Oh,
else. That was a weird part because like, you know the whole birthing process was one thing, but then, next thing you know, they're pulling a bag out of her and it's fucking purple and shit, and you're like, holy fuck.
Dude, it kind
yeah.
of feels like if
Hell
you're watching like a murder, where like when someone just cuts someone's guts
I,
out. It kind of felt like that when they were doing it. I was like, all right,
it
that's
kind of felt like a scene where like an alien's coming out of a pod, and then like you see like the pod residue. That's what it felt like to me. It didn't look like a murder scene. It just looked like,
Kind of like Independence Day when the little alien comes out of the big alien.
oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. uh,
oh
Yeah, when they saw that, they're like they had the little bucket or whatever. They had on the bottom, and then I just see like a little rope, and they just start tugging on it, and then just, and I was like, oh,
uh,
they asked us if we wanted to keep it. It was like, hey, do you guys want this? No, we don't want that shit.
no, they didn't ask. Good thing they didn't ask us, because I think my girl would have said
Yeah.
yes to keeping it, but no.
Yeah, some people like to keep it, and then come to find out, people do something with the placenta or whatever, and
they
it's,
eat it,
Yeah.
or they use
yes,
it as a they eat it.
yeah.
No, they eat it, or they dry it, they grind it down, and they put it in their
Mhm.
baby's formula.
I heard that. I heard about that.
I know there's
Another one that
people
I
who
heard.
save that shit. Like, they will bag up almost everything, like the blankets that they got, the first
Oh yeah, for sure.
sucker, the chupon,
Yeah, for sure.
all that stuff. They save the placenta, like in a little container that's meant to
Well,
store stuff
one of the
like that.
reasons, one of the reasons they take the umbilical cord is because there's stem cells in there.
Yep.
It's one of the
Hmm.
reasons why, like, you know, and a lot of people don't want that, so they take that stuff. They're like, no, I
Mhm.
don't want you guys to get any of that. Give it to me,
Mhm.
or just, they don't trust them, and they're like, yeah, no, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna let you be responsible for throwing that away. So yeah, I can understand that part, but then, I don't understand eating it or any of that stuff. It's just weird. But yeah, we donated ours as well, so we were just like, whatever. It doesn't matter. The hell are we
Yeah.
gonna do with it? Honestly,
I don't think they even asked us what we want to do with ours.
yeah.
Damn,
I don't
they
know.
just
They give it
took
to me
it. They're
anymore.
like, we're taking it. We're not even gonna let them know.
I mean, I feel like if they would have told me like you guys want it, I would have just grabbed it from the bucket and like took a bite and be like, no, never mind, I don't want it. Just to see everybody's face.
You know that scene in Lord of the Rings when like Gollum's biting on that fish? You know, you see all the juices coming out. That's just imagine. That's what I imagine Eddie like just try to go for it, like just all
It's
bloody.
like, uh,
No, or whenever you like you got a when you got a how do you call it like a chiva or whatever, and you get the guts and you go like that with the blood.
oh god.
Wait, what? Someone said Hillary Duff turned hers into chocolate and ate it. What
That's
the
Fuck.
fuck?
weird.
My childhood's
What
ruined.
the? If we have any dads or any moms in here, I want to know. Did you guys eat it? Like, did you guys fucking? Ugh.
Mm-mm.
If you had
Nope.
if you had to take if you had to pick a choice between eating it, drinking it, or just straight up swallowing it, what would you do?
How big is the bite? Like you just have to take a small bite,
It's
or just
incorporated to food, just so you know. All three forms incorporated to food.
Oh, I thought you meant like raw,
Yeah, no,
raw.
it's
take it?
incorporated to food.
You know, take it like a shot.
You can take
If
it
it's a
just
shot, I can do it.
with what
If it's a shot, I can.
with whiskey.
Yeah. So just take a shot of whiskey and then shot of placenta. It's over. Um, Dude, I can take a shot much easier than eating it because like I have the thought in my head while I'm chewing it. I'm just like, it's like no, I'd rather just done.
Fucking fear factor the whole time.
It's like,
No,
sir,
it's because like
this is for ten thousand dollars.
you could eat something that's real nasty and you can
Mm-hmm.
bite it. The biting part's easy, but the chewing when it
Mm-hmm.
gets wet and you
Mhm.
start thinking about it, and it's just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
You think of the texture and everything that comes with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Like I
the
couldn't do the whole chewing part and eating it. I just mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
It's, I don't know. There's some crazy stuff some people do with the
With
some
with the placenta and stuff.
just in general, just different stupid things that they do. Like some women what they do, they'll have their husbands like they'll collect their like sperm samples or whatever, and then they'll use it as like a facial cream or whatever. It's the weirdest shit. It's like if you wanted a facial, I'd give you one for free. Like, come on.
Right?
And you're like, babe.
What the fuck?
There's some crazy shit,
It's
dude. Like
unborn
seriously, there's some crazy
babies.
shit.
This is a secret formula. Unborn babies.
Mm-mm.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's
Shit.
another
Dude.
thing that I hopefully we get a guest that comes on the podcast that's done
Mm.
crazy shit with it, like how someone had said that Hillary Duff turned hers into chocolate and ate it.
That shit would be crazy. It's like, yeah, man, we just threw it in the crawfish bowl and just ate it. No, what the fuck?
We threw in the placenta with the tripas and just ate it in.
Oh god.
We treated it part of it.
No, be fucked up.
Salsa, un poquito de sal. Ándale, güey.
Like somebody who likes tripas, like adds the placenta or the umbilical cord, and just doesn't tell you. You eat it, and then afterwards, you're like, yeah, just so you know, I just ate part of my placenta and my fucking umbilical cord. Because now you don't know which one was the guts
I
and which one
wouldn't,
was
I wouldn't,
that.
I wouldn't throw up, but I'd be very, very mad. I'd be like, you fucking asshole. That was delicious.
Yeah. Okay, look, the only reason that I
You got
find
any
that
more of that?
the only reason that I find that weird is because tripas, when you cook them, they clean them multiple times, right? With the
Yeah.
placenta, you're not cleaning it. It's just the way it is. So I find it gross.
I hope they fucking cleaned it.
No, I wonder how Hillary Duff did it. Like, I wonder if she actually cleaned it herself, like fucking washed it or whatever did she have to do. Like,
Probably hired somebody to do it for her, honestly.
what the fuck? Who has that profession? Yeah,
Surprise, dude.
yeah. I'm a chef and I cook placentas into foods, whatever you can think of.
There's-
You want
Okay,
it?
if there's people who make chocolate out of your butthole, then there's somebody who makes food out of your pussy.
Oh my god.
Okay.
You want that placenta and a sherbet? I got you, bro.
placenta and a po' boy. Okay,
Oh
okay,
my
I
god.
mean, nowadays everything's edible.
yeah. See, it's an actual company who does that. Told you.
What the
Jeez,
fuck?
You'd be surprised, dude. You'd be
I
surprised.
jeez.
guarantee you that's not the only thing they do. I'm pretty sure they do something else, but
I'm sure they do other
it's
things.
interesting that they specialize in that as well. That's interesting.
It's be like, jeez, that's disgusting. What's her name?
It's probably
Oh
it's
my
probably more
god.
like a it's more like a
Placentas
personalized
are
thing.
us.
Like people are people are people are probably paying for the experience more than anything else. Like if they really believe in that, so they'll like incorporate that into what they're doing for them. They'll make it a whole experience. Like yeah, this is a placenta cupcake along with an umbilical cord tripa taco, uh, a tres leches placenta
Yeah.
cake or whatever, something like that.
The frosting is just whipped sperm.
Oh god, god damn it.
I just pulled up an article. In the article, the name of the article says, "I ate my wife's placenta raw in a smoothie and cooked in a taco as well."
What the?
Mm,
Ah,
what kind of
ah.
seasoning do you use for that?
Do you go with
Taco
do you go
seasoning?
with the rub? Do you go with the marinade? Like the
Do you make some rice to go along with it? Do you
oh my god.
a little salsita goes on fixes everything?
I'm surprised nobody's asked, can you air fry that thing or no?
Um,
Make it to some chips.
Can you flambe it?
to dry it out and turn it into jerky.
Dry aged placenta.
He's like,
Oh,
what flavor is that? I mean, it's a little bloody. It's not too
okay.
bad though.
Yeah.
It's all right. Needs a little seasoning.
What's that guy that was the original Superman? What's his name again?
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, it's like this could have saved Christopher Reeve's life.
No, honestly, they're taking a lot of stem cells. It takes like over 1 million just to fucking fix somebody's like torn bicep. Like it
Yeah.
takes
Jeez.
a lot of stem cells. Like even at the end of his life, all he could do was just move his head, or like kind of move his toes too. But like that was about it.
Wait, so what happened? He fell off a horse, no?
No, the horse fell on him.
Oh
So when it
shit.
fell on him, it dislocated. So when it fell on him, it dislocated his skull from his spine.
Ah,
Oh
So
shit.
all right, I gotta
yeah,
stop doing this to myself. I was looking it up. Ugh.
oh god. So when that happened, they had to do an emergency surgery on him, and they had to basically reattach his skull to his spine. So he had like a
Jeez.
50-50 chance of dying, and um, you actually like found this out through Robin Williams, who you find out was like his best friend or whatever. And so basically, he does the surgery and everything. And he survives, but he's paralyzed from basically the neck down. And
Yeah.
yeah, dude, it was fucking crazy, dude.
Damn, it's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, dude. It's
Was it?
it actually happened to a WWE wrestler. Was it like a few years back? Same thing happened to him, and the surgery went successful, but like he has like a giant scar on the back of his neck,
Hmm.
and they were basically able to reattach everything, and he's fine now. But like the most problem he has is like his arms go numb every now and then, but that's about it. He can never
I
wrestle
mean,
again, of course.
that's gonna suck. You're having sex. Your hands are up. And you just go, you just go down.
He's going to Pound Town and it's
You're
Oh,
just there, like, get up. I can't.
somebody commented from placenta to Superman. God damn it. God damn
we
it.
went way off topic, but it's it's
Hey
it's
man, we're still talking about placenta.
no. But I'm saying like it's very interesting how like some people would go above and beyond to try to like make something new out of the placenta. Like I didn't even know you could. Obviously, I guess if you grind it up, but I didn't even know that you could
No, they
grind it up
cannot.
and put it into chocolate. That's crazy.
They're
Hmm.
asking if you can force your children. Can they force
Your
your child
child
or
or
children to
children
join?
Could be-
to join.
No, they can't force you, but it is by law. When you turn 18, you got to do the selective service. So basically,
Yeah,
you input your social, things like that. And if there's a
that's if they
draft
ever
like this,
post a draft. Yeah.
yeah, a World War, like there'll be it's basically like a lottery. And if you
What's
get
the
picked, then you
So there's ways out of it. Like if you're Excuse me.
like a deferment. If you have shin splints, if you're colorblind, you can't join.
What
Uh,
I heard somewhere, I don't know if this is true, if you're an only child,
yeah, if you're
uh,
the only
you can't
child,
yeah, you can't be drafted, if
I
you don't
think
have
if there's
next of kin.
if I don't know if it's two males or there's yeah, if there's two males, both
Mhm.
of them can't join because it's like one of them has to carry like the legacy, things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Or like
Mm.
let's say both of them go, and one of them dies, the other one has to get out. Like they force him out, or they take
Yep.
him out
Saving Private Ryan.
because
yeah.
yeah, basically.
Mm.
I didn't know that shit was,
But
real.
Yeah.
but can they force him? No.
Yeah.
Unless there's, like, a draft, but
I
even
recently
Yeah.
found this out, but my girl's grandpa was drafted into Vietnam War.
oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yep, he was
That's
drafted into the Vietnam War. He went over there and did his thing. He was, I think, if I remember correctly, that they told me he was a chopper gunner.
Oh
oh,
damn,
shit, dude.
Yep, he
it's gotta
was
be
in.
badass.
Yep, he
He
was
was,
in. He was in there.
he was listening to, Flight of the Valkyries. Yeah,
The probably I don't know. Here's another picture.
Is that a
Look, Juan.
is that a
This is
grenade
highly
launcher?
classified. Yeah.
that's a grenade launcher. Damn, pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Did you get to
I
shoot
have
that
a
thing,
local.
Eddie?
No, that day that they did that, I was on vacation, so
Dang.
that's kind of fucked up. Here you
Mm.
guys see a 50 cal.
That's the one you shot, right?
Yeah, in the background you guys can see those are M16s.
Yeah.
M16.
So,
Yeah,
okay, so
M16 A4s.
my buddy Miguel was telling me a story. So he was, I don't remember where he was, if he was in Oahu or where he was, but like the humidity was so weird that they would basically they would clean their guns and they would put them up in the armory,
It would
and
rust.
yeah, they would rust. So like they would have to like it was weird, like the gunsmith would like spray this spray or oil in there and they
It's
would
called
wipe it down.
it's COP.
Okay. And then like it basically looked like you never cleaned your gun before. Like they would just wipe it and it would look so fucking dirty.
Yeah. So
Like I
basically, when I was in the armory, that's what we did.
yeah.
So basically, you take it out. Let's say you gotta go to the range or whatever. Obviously, you gotta
Mhm.
shoot it, and every time you shoot it, how much of the carbon that builds up.
Mhm.
So you gotta clean it like thoroughly. You gotta break it apart. Every piece, and like the Q-tips, clean it. Use a COP, clean it, dry it out. And the best way, you always put a light coat of COP on
Mhm.
every like metal piece. That way, it doesn't rust or like stay dirty. And usually like when you're in the armory, you inspect the rifles and stuff when they come in. You give them out, you inspect them back, and you give them, three hits. So basically, you inspect the rifle. You rock it back, you check it. You put your finger in there with your pinky. There's nothing. Okay, whatever. You check the barrel. You break it apart. Then you check like the trigger housing group, things like that. And
Mhm.
I mean, I knew the places where to find. So if I wanted to be like a dick, or they're gonna give me attitude, I'd just be like, "That's one. That's two. That's three. Come back later," and just be like that. But I mean, what I did too, like with the higher ups, I'd be like, "Hey man, don't worry about it. I'll clean it for you." And whenever I would do that, I mean, they wouldn't mess with me. Like, let's
Mhm.
say, work starts at 8. I show up at like 9:30, and I would have my subordinate like get in there early. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but I mean, by that time it's kind of like your rank and time in service. You kind of like, hey, you do that. You need to learn. If you need anything, let me know. Obviously, I'll show up and I'll teach you.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I led him, I guess, is I would teach him. I'll be like, I'll tell you once. I'll let you do it with my supervision, and then I'm gonna leave you by yourself, just to know that if you got it or not. If you got it, I mean, I'm not gonna mess with you. That way, you get your own groove. You get your own routine. And if you don't got it, let me know, and I won't get mad. I won't yell at you. I won't tell you anything. I'll help you fix it or whatever. But if you mess up, you don't tell me, and somebody else tells me, then that's when I'll teach. Not teach you.
Crack the whip.
Yeah, basically,
Mm-hmm.
because like the worst thing is like you looking bad because at the end of the day they're not gonna yell at him because he doesn't know any better. They're gonna yell at
Mhm.
me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And it happened one time. This one kid. I mean, he was kind of slow too. I told him, hey, do this and this and this before you go to lunch. You have to basically like do accountability of every single rifle in that little rack. You, you do accountability, you send an email out or whatever. You leave the paper out in the little common area so everybody can see it. Hey, this person went on lunch. This is how many rifles there is. This is how many there's supposed to be. If one's like not there, this is where it's at. It's at maintenance or it's at the range or whatever.
Mhm.
You're good to go. And he would have the habit of not emailing anybody or doing the report. So they'd be like, hey, why the fuck is so and so not doing it? And I'd be like, I can't say. I just say, well, that's my fault because even though it isn't, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Mhm.
I take the ass chewing, and then I would tell him, and I ended up having him taken out of there just because to work in there you gotta have a clearance, a secret clearance, because because of all the rifles,
Mm-hmm.
where the rifles go, what operations are going on during those times, and we would tell him, hey, go get your clearance, settled because he never got it, and then he'd be like, oh, I have to go, do this or I have to do that. He never did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that got me really mad, I was sitting down, like getting the rifles out because they were cleaning it, and to my left, and it's a small place. It's maybe like 4 feet wide of
Mm-hmm.
where you can walk, and then another 3 feet of where the firearm racks are at. And I remember I was sitting down, just like I am now, and to my left and the top was the machine guns, the 249s. They basically shoot 5.56, smaller rounds. And I was sitting there, and this guy, dropped the rifle like on the desk, and then on my foot. You know, we well, I wear steel toes at the time, but and I was like, and I got really mad. I closed the little window. I yelled at him like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Like, can't you be like careful? Like, it's a really expensive gun. If you break it, who's gonna fix it? We only have four in this little area. Now we're gonna be down one. Now when people need them, we can't, you know, give
Provide
them
it.
out. Yeah,
Mhm.
and had the armor inspected. It was good. So whatever. And I mean, he was just slow, and then his physical fitness was not good either. And I would always tell him, hey, me and you, we're alone. Nobody's gonna mess with us. And that's kind of like my deal with the higher ups. Nobody's gonna mess with us, but we have to keep, our heads down and make sure we're fit and we know we do our work and everything. That way nobody messes with us. And he would never like, I guess, put effort into like being more fit or eating healthier or anything like that.
Yeah.
So whenever they would do the exams, he would always fail, and I'd be like, "Hey man, like I told you, like do this and this and this. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do it for you. And if I do it for you, you're not gonna like it." I'd
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, whatever." But yeah, he never learned, so I kind of just told like the sergeant, I'm like, "Hey, you need to find somebody else,"
Mm-hmm.
and he did. They ended up bringing this one kid who had he just got, I think it was maybe his, I want to say his second week there in the fleet, basically like where we're at, your due station. And he was a good kid. I kind of like showed him, like the ropes and what to do, what not to do, things like that.
Mm.
And then after that, he called me pop up, pop pop. That was his
Mm.
dad.
Ching.
So,
Um.
quick
Yeah,
question: what was your experience on leaving the military?
it's a,
Oh,
I
nice.
guess my experience would be, I guess it's a bittersweet feeling. I guess
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
it was good because now I get to start my life, my chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part was like having to leave all your friends behind. Everything you knew. For the past
Mm-hmm.
4 years, there's this certain schedule. Everything was, for sure at a certain time. You knew what was going to happen. And then you come out to a real world and you kind of like, you come back here and you're like, everything's different. Everybody's dumb. People in the valley are fucking retarded. They don't know how to drive. Or they're dumb, like the way they do certain things, or like just how people are here in the valley, like the quaches or like machismo and everything. And like, you see it
Yeah.
all the time over there. And usually, like when people are like that, it's because they can't fight or whatever. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
they do it just to intimidate because
Mm-hmm.
half of the time either somebody's gonna back away or somebody's gonna fight them, and
Yeah.
most of the time they back away just because they don't know.
Speaking
But in
of
the Marine
the,
Corps,
I was gonna say real quick. Speaking of the whole, fighting and here in civilian life, obviously a big thing in Texas is owning a gun. Obviously, since you were in the military, you probably get certain special clearances for owning certain guns, or do you not get any clearances? Like, or do you just get the same as anybody else?
no, so basically, I mean, Hawaii's more stricter. So over there, like here, you can have on your pistol like a magazine of 100 rounds, however much you want.
Yeah.
Over there, you can only have 10.
Okay.
So everything's a lot different. But
Damn.
I mean, for me, I was, I guess certified in like shooting grenade launchers, light machine guns, 50 cal, things like that, throw a grenade.
Mhm.
But that doesn't carry over to a civilian sector.
Uh-huh.
The only thing that does help me is when I was pistol qualified. So the only thing that does help me is when I go do my license to carry. It'll
Mhm.
be like a lot easier. Like I can just have my officer sign a paperwork. I take it to the courthouse or the police station, and then just give it to me right then and there,
So there's
rather than having
basically
to.
Mhm.
that it's like him saying, "Hey, this dude knows how to shoot a gun. Don't worry about it. He was trained with us." And they basically
Yeah,
look at it and they're like, "Oh, okay, all right, go ahead and pass him
But
through."
only but
yeah.
it only works for
Basically,
the concealed handgun, right?
yeah. Basically, instead of doing the
Okay.
whole thing, you just give them the paperwork and then okay, good. Here you
Okay.
Yeah. So
go.
you don't have access to other different guns that other people don't. You're just basically
No,
civilian, but with a little extra perk, basically.
no. It's all the same. The only way is like, you basically have to get your class 3 license. That's
Mm.
it's like suppressors, some automatic guns, things like that. But I mean, when you do that, you kind of surrender your rights because now you're letting the government know, hey, I have machine guns, I have suppressors, I can sell guns, things like that. So now they're kind of you're in their radar because
Yeah.
now at
Mm.
any moment the ATF can be like, hey, surprise visit, let's see what you got, make sure nothing's here is legal, and
Oh,
you
Mm.
got to
okay.
pay taxes, things like that. Which, in
Oh,
my
okay.
opinion, I think like it's not worth it. Like yes, it'd be fun, but I mean, for what? Like, it's not like you're gonna go to. I'm not going to Target to Target Zen, whatever, to go
Yeah.
shoot some fucking terrorists or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another topic of guns of owning a gun and the license and all that stuff is what do you, especially you, Pete, as well too, since you own a gun as well, what are you guys stance on either owning a gun case or owning some type of locking mechanism for your gun? Is it, having kids around, like, is it a must, or do you think if you can hide it like in a certain place the kid won't find it? You know what I mean? Like, what's you guys stance on that?
Well, my stance is you don't if you're single, you can hide it. That's that's just how it is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
um, I used to have the habit of having my gun out when I was just by myself. When I was in my apartment, I would just sleep with it underneath my pillow. But when my kids were over, it would basically go in the case, get locked up, and be out of their reach, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
it was in the case, locked, and then basically in the closet somewhere they can't even reach, locked. Made
Yeah, yeah,
sure they couldn't even get a hold of it.
yeah,
I did teach them about it. I did let them know like, hey, I do have a firearm, um, but it's for my safety and it's for your safety, and you will never see it out. You will never know that it's there. Um, don't look for it. Even if you do find it, you're not going to get into it. So
yeah.
basically, letting them know, the rules and stuff. And but yeah, um, for me personally, especially if my kids live with me full time, they would be
Mm-hmm.
locked up. I would have a gun safe. I would have everything locked up. Um,
Yeah.
just making sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. On
Mm-hmm.
top of that, just having everything organized. Because I own a revolver. It's a 38 special. Um, own a Springfield XD, which is 9 millimeter, and then I have AR-15. So those are my three guns for right now. And then those are just basically stashed away,
Yeah.
put away, locked up, all that good stuff.
Yeah. What about
Um,
you? What about you, Eddie? Do you own a gun case, or do you feel like it's necessary right now since your kid's kind of small? Or
See, like for me right now, like I have three as well. I have a Glock 19 9 millimeter, a Springfield
mm,
1911 45, and a AR-10. The AR-10, it's kept away all the time. It's in a Pelican case. And it has four locks, two different sets.
yeah.
And so it's four, two keys, two sets of keys. I have a pair. My wife has a pair. That way, in case one of us needs it, we have it.
Mhm.
On
mm,
the 1911, that one as well. It's in a case. Two different locks, two different keys. I
mm,
have a set. My wife has a set as well. And then for my personal, my Glock, that's when I carry it with me all the time. Me
mhm,
personally, like I don't lock it away. I hide it very well, just because. I mean, with me, like was my, I guess, not my upbringing, but like my training, whatever. Like, uh, whenever we're over there, whenever you had your rifle, you gotta have it within arm's reach, because you never know when you need it. And I tell my wife, like, yeah, maybe I'm paranoid, but like, let's say somebody comes in the house, and I'm over here trying to go find the keys, to go find the case, to open it, to get the locks. And by the time I get it, boom, dead or whatever. So I usually put it like in my nightstand under my clothes. That way I know
Mhm.
it's there.
mhm,
It's in its holster, so it's not easily accessible with the trigger or whatever.
mhm,
Or whenever, if I go anywhere, I take it with me. It's on me at all times. But I never like the only time I do leave it, like let's say in the counter, is if I'm there, like eating in the kitchen, or I'm in the living room.
Mhm.
I'll just set it there, or I'll put it in one of the drawers, like where it's hidden. That way,
mhm.
somebody comes over, like, well, they're not gonna see it, they're not gonna find it or anything. But like to me, like it's better to like have it near me. That way, I know it's somewhere. But like one thing like that gets to me all the time, like if I do go somewhere, like I'll be like, damn, like what if I need it or whatever. Just
Mm.
Mhm.
because people here in the valley are fucking crazy, and any moment you could be, you're driving home from fucking Dollar General, you listen to music, and then you hit a stop sign, and somebody just comes out of nowhere. Especially here where I live, I live right next to the border,
Yeah.
right here by Inspiration and like
You.
basically military road.
Yeah. You don't have to say
You
where you
know,
live. All
yeah.
right.
So
Yeah,
basically, I mean, and
it's
that's
at
just me.
home.
Like, and then like, I mean, it's something against it, but like, there's something wrong with defending yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it's come ways from like the laws. Like, it's stupid because like, if the criminals don't follow the laws now, more laws is not gonna be like, you know what? They do have more laws. Why not follow the laws?
Mhm.
There's gonna be like, well, it's easier for me. And
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Just
that's
go to
kind of
different
why I got the
places.
cameras too. That way, like, I have less of a, I guess, like of use for the gun. Like once
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
baby's older, once he knows how to walk, move around and stuff, then well, I have the cameras. Now I have something that I can, look outside without
Mhm.
putting myself in danger, I guess.
Mhm.
Mhm,
And now, like the gun can kind of be, let me put the gun away. Now I have the cameras if I need it, because I have the time to go get it, rather than not
Mhm.
have no surveillance, and then somebody's at the door, and I can't see, and now I have to like prepare or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know.
yeah,
Myself, I don't personally own a gun, but I don't know. I guess I never saw myself the need for it. Obviously, there is certain topics that we can talk about. Obviously, that can probably lead to me saying yes. We might need a gun, but no, I don't need a gun.
somebody asked, "Would you ever tell your child that you have a gun?" Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
I
you
literally
did.
just said it a
Yeah,
while ago.
Yeah.
yeah. You,
So,
I mean,
you, you, Eddie. Do you plan to tell your kids when they get older, like, yeah, daddy has guns, don't touch them or whatever?
I would, and I would let them know, and I would teach them safety. And obviously, I would
yeah.
buy like I mean, there's so like fake guns, like the rubber guns, or even like,
See, because
uh,
like the best safety that I believe is that they know about the gun and that they
yeah,
know not to touch it. That's
Mm,
that's for me the best safety, honestly. If you don't tell them about it, they'll think that it's probably just a toy or something.
yeah,
On
yeah,
top of that, kids will go digging around anywhere. You know,
yeah,
yeah.
um, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted my kids to know and to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they understand, like, hey, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't fuck with it,
Yeah.
and if you do find it, you're not going to get into it. So,
Yeah, yeah. Also, there's kids too. They're kind of like, well, mom or dad, whoever it is, they never told me that they have this, so I can't
Yeah,
get in trouble because they never told me that what this is or that I can't play with it. So, yeah, that's a good
yeah,
point that Pete brings up. Like, it's like, hey, I'm telling you now, don't touch it, don't look for it, or whatever it is.
hmm
yeah.
don't fuck
And
with
like in my opinion, I think like hunters are like, I guess like the best in safety because even when they shoot a deer, they could have the biggest and most beautiful deer right in front of them, but let's say there was a vehicle in the back or an open field, they're not going to shoot because they always say oh, the weapon safety rules that we had is treat every weapon as if it were loaded, uh, treat never keep never point at something that you do not intend to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your finger off the trigger, and then keep your weapon. No, keep weapon unsafe and off the trigger, and then keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. So
it.
basically, like, and then know what lies behind your target. So like, don't just shoot at something just because it's there. Like if
Mm-hmm.
somebody comes and robs your house, you're not gonna shoot. Let's say if I'm in my front door, I'm not gonna shoot something in my living room because my room's back behind there. Somebody's gonna shoot straight there because what if the bullet goes through and I miss or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know when to pick your shot. So I guess safety would be a big part, just because I'll tell them, hey, if you ever are gonna go somewhere, make sure I'm there when an adult is there that can teach you like the proper safeties and things like that.
Yeah.
And if you are intend to shoot a weapon, make sure it's in a range with personnel there, or like if you're hunting, make sure I'm there or somebody there that they can teach you, the right ways to do it, rather than just go shoot at stupid shit or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good points, man. But yeah, just bringing up our next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's going to be one of our guests, Marcus Medina. He's a good friend of mine. We're going to be
Mm-hmm.
talking about primarily, we're going to be going in and out of different things, but we're primarily going to be talking about child support and CPS.
Yep.
He's definitely somebody that helped me out with understanding child support and how that works. And it's going to be a great episode. It's going to be a two-part episode. He's got a lot to say, and like I said, he's helped me out with a lot of things. And yeah, he should be on for next week's episode and the following week after that.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be a two-parter because he has a lot to pretty much talk about and also his experiences as well. So he has a pretty good, pretty good time
under-
and stuff like that. Um,
yes,
well, pretty much we want to thank everybody who's here, who decided to join us and everything, and who were watching with us. I want to thank our guest Eddie for pretty much
thank
showing.
you for.
Thank you, Eddie, for showing us pretty much the military life in a way. You know what I mean? Certain stuff that I thought I knew, you showed me, or you talked about that I didn't even know about. You know what I mean? Like jobs and stuff like that. So that was very interesting as well too.
Yeah, the VA part was actually really enlightening.
Yeah, pretty much the
Honestly,
way you were explaining it to me, it was like if a butcher was cutting certain pieces of meat off the pig, and it's like, okay, I know this is worth this much a pound, so I'm gonna cut it off here. This is worth this much a pound, I'm gonna cut it off there. So it was kind of like that. That was a little weird. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was really interesting. But yeah, thanks
Um.
for.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate being here. Um. Follow our social media accounts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your baby daddy podcast. We're on Instagram, Twitter.
Also, guys, if you guys get a chance, just share the video.
Yep.
Honestly, share the video, and then
Mm-hmm.
just let other people know. I mean, we're here. We're gonna keep doing this. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
This is
I can't
what is
read it.
that? What is that?
this
It's
is earned, never given.
there. You go.
Oh wow,
Marine Corps title.
nice.
Yeah.
If I may say one thing,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
they say you could join the army. You could become a soldier. You can you know be a sailor, airman, or whatever. But you can only become a Marine. There's only one way to do it. It's the boot camp, and that's it.
There you go. You heard it
And
here.
the The armies aren't real men yet, or Marines yet.
Yep. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we'll be here next Monday at 7, same time. Thank,
Sure.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.